Hey, you're welcome. Welcome to Code Crush. Today we'll be talking about introduction to web development, and we'll be discussing on the tools needed and what goes on the client and server side of the web, which will be taken by Nina Zakeronko, software engineer at Reddit with over 8 years in the software engineering field. So let's just dive in and see what Nina has for us. And after it, I'll come back to throw more light on some of the tools and other areas that need to be touched. So I welcome you once more. Let's get it.
So I've been working as a developer for the past 8 years, and it's a job that I find really rewarding because I feel like I get to go to work and solve problems, and I find it really fun. And so I'm hoping to share some of the skill set with you. We're kind of scratching the surface, but it's going to be enough for you guys to kind of get a grasp of everything and know enough to know how to find more information and how to learn some of these things in a more in-depth kind of way. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is our tool set. And it's really, really important. And why? It's because, the tools of our trade are designed to help us solve problems, to help us do things faster. And you need a good text editor and a way to debug HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And there are lots of browsers out there, but Chrome is it's the one that's really geared towards developers. It's much easier to find your way around. The developer tools are built in, unlike some of the other browsers. And the text editor we'll be using today is Sublime Text, but you can use any editor of your choice. So the reason we use a text editor that's specific for code is because we have syntax highlighting for all the different programming languages that we use, HTML, CSS. So in this example, the brackets are highlighted in a different color, and the string, which is the thing between those quotes, is a different color as well. And that's a visual indicator that things are correct. And so your brackets have to match up. And so if they're colored, it's much easier to see if you've missed something. Same with your parentheses. So Sublime Text has a great feature where your parentheses will, when they match up, they will be highlighted. So if you type parentheses into Sublime Text, it will put underscores underneath the matching pairs. So in the example above, we have an extra parenthesis with no match. And so when we type it and put our cursor on it, we'll see that no other parenthesis is highlighted. It also has a great tool called Replace All. So for example, if you want to change a string in a whole block of text, you can go to Edit and Replace, type in your new thing, hit Replace All, and it'll find all of the instances and swap them out for you. So we're going to use Chrome to debug our web pages. And if you guys could visit google.com and right-click anywhere that's not an image and click on View Page Source. So when you guys do that, you're going to get something like this. And it's like, whoa, what is all this stuff? There's a bunch of numbers, not a ton of words. It's not really clear at all. So a better way of debugging a page, and you guys can try this out by right-clicking on the Google image and going to Inspect Element. Okay, that's much better. So by doing this, you're scrolling right into the source of the code that does that specific thing. And so here you can see it's an image tag, which we'll talk about later, but there's also a link to the image that's being used. And if we hover over that link, we'll see the Google logo. So a great thing about Chrome is that you can actually go ahead and update the values. So in that, if you have this up here, you'll see that there's a height tag. You can double click in it and update the value. So you can enter a new value, press enter, and you'll see your changes. So one thing to note about this is these changes are only on your computer. If you refresh the page, you'll lose them. So let's try and change the Google logo. So we're going to navigate to google.com. We're going to right-click and inspect the Google image element. And then we're going to set the width to 700 and the height to 30. So I'll go ahead and do that with you guys.
You just have to go
Back.
Yeah, just move your cursor to the top.
Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got google.com. We're going to right-click, inspect element. It'll pop up this console here, and let me make this text size bigger so that you can see it. So we're going to double-click in the height, change that value to 30, and double-click in the width and set that value to 700 and press enter. And you guys should see something like this. Does everyone see that? Does anyone need help? No? Okay. Great. Okay, so that was our result. The other great thing about Chrome is it has something called a JavaScript console, which we'll be using a lot later in the class. And to do that, you go to View, Developer, and JavaScript console. So can everyone open that up? So it's View, Developer, and JavaScript console. For the purpose of this class, it would be nice to open that up in a brand new tab so that if there's anything going on with the web page that you have this console open on, it's not interfering with your work. For example, like Google here. So this is totally fine. We could just go in here and press enter a few times to clear it out. This? There we go. Yep, you can hit this right here to clear out your console. So we're going to type something out here and see our result. So let's type console dot and then log. And in the process, this developer console should be giving you hints. So as you type, you'll see things that match. And then we're going to put a quote and hello world. Match that quote and match that parenthesis. Once you have that and you hit enter, if you scroll up, you'll see that hello world was printed right here. So the other thing that we'll be using the console for a lot is if you have an error in your JavaScript files, you'll see an indicator here in the developer toolbar. It'll show a big red X and the number of errors that you have. A little bit about the client and server and what happens when you're on a web page. So you're on a web page and you click a link. What happens behind the scenes is the client is creating an HTTP request, and it's sending it over to the server. So it's like, knock, knock, server, I want this. And the server is going to come back and say, I have it or I don't. So the server finds the thing that you asked for, bundles it up, and sends it back to the client. After this, the client decides what it's going to do with it. If it's an image or an HTML page, it's going to go ahead and display it. So things that run on the client side are HTML, JavaScript, and Flash. Things that run on the server side are things like PHP, MySQL, anything that does generation. So this is a really brief example of an HTTP request. So get is an HTTP verb. So you're sending this instruction to the server. You're saying, get me this link. The version of HTTP I'm using is 1.1, which is not important. The host is which server these resources will live on. And the accept is what the client is expecting to get back. So the server will handle the request, and it's going to send back something like this to the client. The number 200 and OK is important. 200 is an HTTP status code. So the client and server don't need to know, they don't need that OK message. They know purely by that number that everything went exactly as planned. And so you'll get back, in this example, some HTML. And then your client, your browser, knows how to translate that into what we see. So colors, images, different font sizes. Now, here's a page that we've all seen a lot. And why does this happen? It means that the web server couldn't find the file that you asked for. So you asked for a file that doesn't exist. So some really common HTTP status codes, ones we probably see almost every day. 200 means OK. 404 means that that file wasn't found. And 500 is a server error. So a good way of kind of figuring out what your status code means if you see it, ones in the hundreds are purely informational. Ones in the 200s indicate success of some sort. 300s are redirection, so that means something has moved. 400s are client errors, and 500s are server errors.
Welcome back, guys. Congratulations for staying up to the end of the session. I know everything will look so vague and new to some of us, like the beginners. Those of us that are already into tech, we already had terms like this. But not to worry, as time goes on, it will get clearer and clearer to us. To throw more light on what was said about the tools, using Chrome, yeah, it's a very good browser to use coding. Most programmers use it in their practices, and also the tools with time. There are other tools we can use: web apps, web applications, software applications, and the rest. Like Atom, we have Atom, we have Visual Studio, we also have Visual Studio Code. We have some sites like Glitch, we have CodePen. Like there are so many that can be used to practice to follow along. So we'll be seeing some of the use, like the one we use mostly: CodePen, Visual Studio Code, Sublime. Just because of some of their special features. But along the line, we'll get to know more about these, and as we keep on practicing, we get to know more. You just sit back, and we have a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot of practices to use these tools, and also to understand what goes on the client side and on the server side of the web development. Uh, uh, we have other classes that are coming up, and we'll explain more on our next video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share. Thank you. Martins signing out.